Let me again say good morning to you, Chris.
How are you doing?
Oh, very good. And Rich Izalbo is my contact man down in New Jersey, and he's really getting some names and addresses out there, and I'm very pleased to have been able to get in touch with you.
Well, I'll tell you something. That is one find from a trumpet player. I almost said trombone, and I'm putting my hand across my mouth, slapping my face.
Not only that, he's a nice person also.
Yes.
Now, you were down there recently performing in Hackensack, is that correct?
That's Hackensack, New Jersey. At the Oregon, if I can pronounce it, the Oregon Auditorium.
That's the place with Old Roger.
All right.
Did you get paid?
What?
Did you get paid?
Oh, maybe we should make another show.
Oh, you have that problem too.
No, it really was fabulous, though, because, first of all, Margaret Whiting is one of the loves of the century. I mean, that woman is so beautiful and was sort of a den mother to myself and, of course, her daughter, Debbie Whiting, and Amy Weston, Paul Weston and Joe Stafford's daughter. And so I felt like I was in such fantastic company. The entire week was just fabulous. It was something that you came home and you wanted to immediately go back and do again. It was so fantastically wonderful because you really don't have anything like that around. And especially I feel with the younger people getting involved behind the big band music. God love Bette Midler and God love the disco that brought back the touch dancing, which in turn I think brought back the big band sound, although it's never really been gone, but brought it out in front again.
Right, Roger, no, he's doing a fantastic job, and I went down there for the first time, and of course that was in February, and of course I have been hearing an awful lot about what was going down there, and I wanted to meet with Ray Anthony and also with Rich, who I have been talking with for some time over the phone and corresponding with, and I was thoroughly impressed, and I'm trying my darndest to bring that live entertainment up here to Utica.
Now that would be fantastic. I really mean that, because there's a lot more people, I think, than, a lot of people figure the big band sound is just for the generation that was growing up with it, and it's really not true, because I find when I perform in LA with big bands that I would say 60% of our audience is a younger generation. That connect, like the punk rockers, the fans and the groupies dress, punk to go see their favorite group. And you'll be amazed at how many of the younger kids dressed up in the 1940s style to go hear the big band.
That is something that really is hitting on. Yes, I agree with you. And also, something, too, is I'm hearing more and more younger people coming into this type of an audience. And I'm hearing things like on public broadcasting, on television, they're seeing some of the musicals for the first time.
Oh, sure.
All of this is just coming in. It's all brand new to this newer generation. But the thing is that they're not being exposed to it enough.
Right. Well, when disco came in, you probably remember how they were taking In the Mood and A-Train and all these different songs and putting the disco beat to it. And, kids like my nephew, I've got a 17-year-old nephew, thought it was new wave. Have you heard this new song, In the Mood?
Right. Well, that's like Jack. Jack Malik called me from Texas, and he's been a band leader since the 50s, and he said he can't get over when you get the queen of the ball or something from a college prom or something, and they come up to him and ask him if he can play In the Mood.
Oh, I know.
And he's been playing it ever since he can remember it, but to these people, it's all brand new.
It's true, but I think the response, I go back to Harry James came out with one of the most fantastic lines when the orchestra that I sing with, Bill Toll, we did the 40th anniversary at the Hollywood Palladium, where they brought in for 7 days all of the big bands and the vocalists, and it was just unbelievable. And they were interviewing Harry James backstage after one of the shows, and they said, Mr. James, how does it feel to have the big band back? And he looked at them and said, back? He said, we've never left.
That's the opinion of everybody. If you ask any of the band leaders, that's exactly what they will tell you.
Yeah. No, it's really true, and I think one of the most exciting points of my career was truly being able to perform with the big bands, which was a lifelong dream.
Right, now, how long have you been singing, Chris?
Well, I've been
No, well, let's not give numbers. But,
I just started 6 months ago.
Okay.
I've been singing professionally since I was 16.
Right, okay. And have you had any formal singing things? Vocal things?
Yes, I studied 5 years with one of the leading voice builders really in the country. His name is Giuseppe Balistrieri. He's a nice Irishman. And I studied really in knowing my voice, how to use my voice. And it's really helped tremendously, especially when you're singing on a constant basis.
Mm-hmm.
I find that my voice is not as tired as it probably would have been had I not studied or known how to use the voice. And it really has helped with the big bands, because with the big bands, you have to use a little bit more control. It's not as free as like today's music. And I started out with Columbia Records in a girls group, so I really went from like folk rock into doing recordings to nightclubs and then graduating into big bands. Now most people went from big bands to recordings to clubs.
That's right. You just went right. That's exactly the way they go.
To the reverse. And so in a way, it was very beneficial because I had to hold myself back a little bit more. And it's good training, and it's so much fun. My foot gets tired from, just like tapping it to the tempo.
Right, and it's like I try to tell some of the people around here that are not used to seeing the live entertainment. What a difference it is compared to, it's nice on television, nice in the movies and everything, but when you're there, the adrenaline flows.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's something you really have to experience live. Just once to get you to want to go back for more.
Oh, that's it, and that's why I'm planning. I'm going back down to Hackensack May 6th, 7th, and 8th, I guess it is. Harry James and his band's going to be there. Al Martino, Peter Smith will be back.
Oh, that's great.
Let's see, Nancy Wilson, Tennessee Ernie Ford, and, I don't know, a couple more on there. And he's doing a fantastic job. How he's doing it all, I don't know.
I commend him for what he's doing, because it's a tremendous undertaking. And yet, I feel that anything that good, it just takes a matter of time for it really to launch itself probably into something that he would want to probably experiment out on the West Coast. Because we really don't have anything going out on the West Coast like that.
I don't think there's anything going like that anywhere.
Really, really. Everybody here on the West Coast is talking about what's happening in Hackensack. And it was sort of like an honor to be able to say I was a part of it. And by the way, I have to tell you that Amy Weston and Debbie Whiting were unbelievable to work with. But I could not believe it. When Amy Weston opened her mouth, I thought, if that is not her mother's brain.
Is that right?
Fantastic.
Well, Frank Sinatra Jr. put out an album with Pat Longo.
Right.
And of course, he's a talented gentleman himself, but you can hear the phrasing and you can hear the sound of Frank Sr.
That's true, and Frank Sr., of course, got his training from the Dorsey Orchestra.
Right, and it is. You listen to it, and I've often compared the sound of Senior and Junior, and it is there, no question about it.
So similar, it's frightening.
Well, it goes on from generation to generation.
I'll tell you, Pat Longo's got a very good big band here on the West Coast.
Have you heard his latest album?
Yes, I have. As a matter of fact, I was there at Capitol Records when they were recording Three of the Cuts. And I have the album, and I'm just in love with it.
Yeah, well, he sent it to me 4 days after they pressed it, and then I played it here, and I shipped it over to England, and they played it before it was even distributed anywhere.
Know that?
Yeah, I sent him a letter, and I'm sending him a cassette tape of it also.
That's great, because he really does. Here on the West Coast, he's very well known. And, I've told him many times, I said, boy, if you ever need a girl singer to stop, I'm here. And hopefully one of these days I'll be able to, sing with his band, because he really does have a swinging band. Well,
there aren't too many good female singers around, are there? Well, in comparison.
It's funny. I am the biggest fan of people in this industry, and especially I think with my own peers, being a singer. There are so many talented people in LA alone that will probably never get beyond a showcase club, which is sad to me. There are not enough clubs anymore for singers to really work at their trade, and there's not enough good bands that really need the singers. You know, so it's really a shame because there is very good talent out here. You know, it's one of the things, I guess, that gnaws at me, is that so many of these, and young, up-and-coming, talented singers are never going to get the chance.
Well, I think that's the same in any kind of a business. We have that in broadcasting also. We have so many talented people that graduate to universities and they stand in line waiting to get their first opportunity at a broadcasting station, and the line goes on forever.
Yeah. You know, it's sad. You know, Rich Bravo and I were talking one night over the telephone because I told him, I said that, you know, you hear these myths about, you know, how the girl singers and the musicians never really got along. And I said, you know, I've never experienced that in my entire career as a singer. If anything, I've always felt closer to musicians than probably anyone else in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always have felt, too, that musicians are probably the most underrated.
That's true.
By the sound, and yet they get so little of the credit.
Well, and the thing is that when you get a club owner or something that takes the plunge and brings in some musicians, they want immediate success.
Yeah.
They're not willing to, they're not willing to be patient and let the patronage build up. If they don't see that money flowing through the cash register the first instant, then out they go and they blame it on the musician.
Well, it's unfortunate, or they do the same thing to a singer. You know, if they'll call you in and give you a trial run one night, you know.
Right, and they want that immediate success.
Yet they'll do no advertising. They do absolutely nothing.
Well, they want you to bring it in.
Yeah. And to me, and I'm sorry to say this, but I have never yet had a love affair with a club owner.
Well, no, I can understand where you're coming from because we have the same problem here locally with groups that try to get themselves established and going, and I try myself to get a lot of the places around to start something, even on a Sunday or something in the afternoon, so that we can get families out there and just get them used to going dancing again. They're not willing to take the plunge.
Well, it's sad, too, because I feel so many club owners are frustrated performers themselves.
Roger's the perfect example. But he turned it into a success.
Well, that's true. I mean, you can take that frustration and turn it into something very positive that's going to benefit yourself as well as other people, or you can turn it into a negativity and really wind up taking a nosedive. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've performed in clubs in the Los Angeles area where they give you pianos that are out of tune, mic and a sound system that is absolutely out of Zodi's.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from there.
And then they expect you to be fantastically brilliant and have everything going for you. It's something that probably has led me into wanting to get away from the club rather than pursuing it.
Well, I find that a lot of the jazz musicians feel the same way. In other words, everybody says that the work is not in club work. What they seem to be trying to do, of course, even concerts aren't really the answer.
Well, that's the thing, you know, something launches itself in one area, it's kind of like a triggering reaction. You know, you'll find it being accepted in other areas. Well,
it's accepted, but the funny thing is, you can't find too many people that can see that big picture.
Now, also, I think another thing is the economy. You know, people today, and I know this from working with the big bands in L.A., you know, you'll perform at places like the Hollywood Palladium or the ballrooms, and, you know, immediately the ticket prices are anywhere from $7.50 on to $10 a couple, possibly per person. At the Palladium it would be per person, plus on top of that your drink. And there's a lot of young people today that don't have that kind of money, you know, to go out and have that kind of an evening. Even the older generation doesn't. I mean, people do have their hands tightly on the purse strings.
Oh, without a doubt. We're also fighting television, cable television, and of course a pretty good percent of the entertainment money that people have allotted themselves go to pay for cable television, and they get established into seeing some of this in their home, and they just don't get up and go out anymore like they used to.
And it's really a shame because, you know, I think back during the war years when really, and even before the war years when the big bands were coming in, they entertained